So hi, good evening to each and everyone. By the way, I am Maria Suzanne C. Jacobo, and for our tonight's discussion, we will be going to discuss the do's and don'ts in writing a traditional headline. So for the do's, of course, we must make sure that our headline answer as many W's as possible. Yes, because as a news writer, we are aiming to provide a necessary information in which our readers could get the information that they need. So possibly we must make ensure that all the necessary W's is included in our traditional headline. So for the number 2, the headline should summarize the news story. It should contain nothing that is not found in the story. So basically, since we are aiming to provide factual information, we must not include unnecessary information that is not included in the news story itself. So basically, we must always ensure that the story we included in our news is factual and evident. That is not just comes up from our own opinion or imagination. So for the number 3, we must use the positive heads are preferable to negative ones. So of course, it is necessary for us to use a positive heads rather than a negative one. So let us just say, for example, school physician allays flu fear is better and shorter than flu. Epidemic not rampant in city. So to proceed, let us proceed to the number 4 for the do's. Put a verb expressed or implied in every text. So for the number 5, we must omit articles like a, an, and the end. All forms of the verb to be is, must be, is, are, and be, unless it is needed to make the meaning clear. So let us just say, for example, instead of the phrase reclaim banks are cause of recurrent of flood, are before cause is unnecessary. Rather, we must use the word Joe Biden is new U.S. President and is necessary to make the meaning clear. So for the number 6 for the do's, we must use the strongest word in the first line as much as possible. Of course, to gain the attention of our readers. So to proceed, in number 7, the active verb is better than the passive verb in headlines. So let us just say, for example, for the sentence, local highway aids typhoon victims. So it is more preferable. So for the number 8, use the present tense for past stories and the infinitive form of future stories. So let us just say, for example, President Duterte bats for National Reconciliation Lantern Parade to cap Christmas affairs. So as you can see in the sentence, it is more accurate. So for the number 9, write numbers in figures or spell them out depending upon your needs for your unit counts. So to proceed to the number 10, of course, we must not forget that we must always use any of the following headline styles, but be consistent once you have adopted. So as you can see in your screen, there are 3 headline styles. So for the first headline style is all caps. So basically, as you type your headline, you must use all caps in writing, such as character, nationalism, vital cogs, and education. So as you can see, it all uses all caps in every sentence. So for the other one, let us proceed to the B, cap and lowercase. So basically, in this style, you must include the caps in the first letter and the remaining is all lowercase. So basically, that is all for our do's in writing a traditional headline. So now, let us proceed for the don'ts. So for the first one, of course, we must avoid the following kinds of headlines. So no, the first one is a fat head. So what is a fat head? This is the spaces between the letters or words are so crowded that there are no more spaces between them, or the spaces are so small that several words read as one. So the second headline that we must avoid writing is a thin head. So what is a thin head? This is the spaces between the letters or words or the space after the words in a line are so wide that the effect is ugly. So, as you can see in the example in the screen, BSP launches drive. So, it is not that accurate and eye-appealing to the readers of your news article. So, for the letter C, we must also avoid the label head. So, it is an incomplete headline like the label of a product. So, example is the Christmas party, as you can see in the screen. So, for the letter D, the wooden hand. So, what is the wooden hand? A wooden hand is a very weak headline that is devoid of meaning, sometimes due to the absence of a subject or the lack of a verb. So, for the example, to hold exertion. It is a very weak headline. So, for the letter E, the mandatory head. It gives a command because it begins with a verb. So, for example, hold the dialogue with principals. It is unnecessary for our headline to use this mandatory head. So, to proceed, let us proceed to the F, which is the screaming head. So, what is screaming head? It is a big and bold headline of a short and an important story. A sensational head is another kind of screaming head. So that are the following headlines that we must avoid. So now let us proceed to the number 2 for the don'ts. Don't tell the same thing even though you use a different word. Each succeeding deck should contribute information. So at this instant, we must avoid being redundant in our news article. Don't ever rewrite the same word that you have already write in the past sentences because it is unnecessary. So, let us proceed for the third. Don't comment directly or indirectly to avoid editorializing even in headlines. So, for the number 4, unless the subject is implied or has been mentioned in the first deck, avoid beginning a headline with a verb. So, as what I have said earlier. So, to proceed with the number 5, of course, we don't end a line with a preposition, neither should you separate a preposition from its object. Of course, we must not confuse a hanging preposition with a two-word verb that ends with a proposition. So, to proceed with the number 6, don't break off abbreviations, names, and hyphenated words. So, for the number 7, avoid repeating principal words regardless of the numbers of the decks. And for the number 8, avoid heads that carry a double meaning. So, for the number 9, don't coin abbreviation of your own. Use only those that are common to readers like DepEd, PRC, OWA, and etc. Don't make your own abbreviation. Instead, use the common abbreviation that we use in today's generation. So, for the last one, for the don'ts, don't abbreviate days and months unless figures follows. You must write it appropriately so that our readers could significantly understand the necessary information that we are implying for. So that's all for our tonight's discussion. Once again, I am Maria Suzanne C. Jacobo, and thank you for listening.